The idea behind the show is simply asking guests what they would tell a stranger on a plane if they were sitting next to them and the stranger asked them for advice.
The scenery is passing very fast, but the seer is constant. The one who's seeing is the same.
Let me appreciate you for asking a question that I haven't been asked after 2,500 or so interviews over the years.
Is you have to drop the ego, which is everyone's greatest obstacle.
In 2008, Grant and I had been married for 4 years. I was pregnant with my first child. The economy was collapsing, and we were on the verge of losing everything financially.
So I just have one question. That was amazing, which is hence why I sat.
Sorry, yeah, I stopped talking. I just,
No, but I want to get you to share the story you told me about on the phone. And it relates.
Right.
Only question I want to make sure I ask you, which is the passenger question, which I kind of gave you a heads up on, Louis, which is that if you were sitting on a plane next to a stranger, they leaned over and gave you some life advice, or asked you for some life advice, what might you tell them? And then you told me a story. So I'll let you just tell a story. I don't give you the 5 minutes.
well, it's kind of funny. About a week ago, I was going to Sundance again. I've been going every year since I started. That's like my thing, right? I love it. So I'm on a plane the other day. This is before his email. Again, is it meant to be, right? I'm on this plane, and there's this little plane. It's small, right? And I'm sitting down. I get in my seat, and all of a sudden, I see this dude twice my size walking. One with a big beard, right? Younger dude, right? And he's like, here, sees me, sees the seat. He looks. He gives me a dirty look. I go, oh God, me and this guy, we're gonna be sitting in the seat. Okay. He stares me down. He's like, puts his bag up. He crunches in. He sits there. I'm like, okay. This is last week. Sits down next to me, and I like talking to people, so I like to become friendly. So I'm just like, because I saw him all gruff and annoying, right? And he looks to me, hey, no. And he pulls up his phone, and he's got like this, like his wife and like 4 kids. Like, oh, that's a beautiful family. And we just start talking about family, right? And, the problem with our today's society is everyone generalizes everything. And I become a victim of that. All these kids, all these fucking guys sound like my mother. All these fucking kids, all these kids today, right? And you find yourself generalizing people, especially our youth. And I'm on the plane, and we start talking. He's like, yeah. I go, hey, where are you coming from? So we start talking. And up is we become the best buddies for this 2-hour flight, right? And he's like, hey, so we start showing me his film. I go, I have a daughter too. I go, how old are you? He goes, 33. He goes, I got 4 kids. And he's a young kid who we all generalize about. And I look at him and I go, really? You got 4? He goes, yeah, I can't wait to get back to him. He goes, yeah, we're cooking. I go, holy shit, I've been doing that with my daughter forever. Now, this is a young kid. I'm an older guy who does it, but he have an old school mentality. He's a young kid and he's doing it. And he's working. And he's flying back to his 4 kids. He goes, look at my wife. She's Lebanese. I go, when I brought it out here, I was like kind of brought in by a Lebanese family. So I learned how to cook Lebanese food. So he's like, yeah, my wife. I go, so we start talking food and kids. I go, what you got to do is, no matter how much money, I always do this. No matter how much money you got in the bank, you can't buy memories with your family. I spend every nickel. I get a job. All right, where we going? My daughter. Because when you die, you're going to leave the money. They're not going to remember you. But if you have 1,000 memories, every time me and my daughter do something, we'll say something like, remember that? And all that money and time I spent in the future pays off because the memories are more important than money. So the kid's on the plane. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to get back. And I'm looking at this kid. And it was almost reminding me of me as like a dad. And he's 33. And I said to myself, I told my daughter, because even my daughter, I go, oh, all you fucking kids, you get that mentality sometimes because the society plunges you with bullshit nonsense. And she's a cheerleader. And I finally, I went to the school to watch her cheer. And like state champion, she's like being thrown around. I'm like, the physicality and the mentality, she's doing it from 6 a.m. to 7. And I started going, I learned a massive lesson on that plane ride. And I got home and I told her, I will not generalize anyone, especially our youth anymore, because this kid's young. He's bringing up his family. He's working all over the country. He's basically cooking with his kids. Basically what I did as an old school guy, he's doing. So that's not our entire youth. It's not our entire civilization. And I learned a lesson when I got off that plane. I learned I will stop generalizing. I don't care what it is, your color, your race, your whatever. I get along with everyone. But I found myself over the last, year or two going, these young kids today, because you watch so much nonsense, but if there was videos back then, you would see the stupidity of the kids. Because I'm not going to get political, but like even Vietnam, remember when we got home, there were the riots and things. It's the same thing as what the kids are doing now. It's just wasn't social media. So I realized, and I said, I got off that plane, I was so happy. I said, this kid's a young kid and he's making it happen as a dad, as a parent, our youth is not generalized. And I hope more of the young kids do that kind of mentality. And it was just made me happy. It kind of reminded me of me rushing home to his kids to cook with his kids, big dude, but he was like from Detroit. I'm from the Bronx, different worlds, different ages, but with the same fundamentals. And I thought that was amazing. And I learned the biggest lesson: stop generalizing anything. Take people as individuals. And people go, I don't like that guy. I go, well, maybe he don't like you. I get along with him. Everybody has a different personality. Unless you're my brother, I will not like someone because of that. I don't care who he is. But if you're just friends, everybody has a different path, a different mentality. Maybe he don't like your vibe. Maybe he likes me. So again, with that kind of mentality, is when I meet people, I treat them how they treat me, and they get reciprocated back with that. But again, the most important thing I know is adversity builds character and strength. Anybody who quits never really had the determination to succeed in what they tried. It was just a dream with no execution, right? But if you get hit with a million things and they start derailing you and you're like, fuck this, and you just keep going back, and then you break the wall, you're like, wow, 5 years of adversity, the wall's broken, and now I'm through it. So what else you guys want to know? Who's taking me for pizza tonight? There's some great spots. I have a Venmo.
So I'm all here.
Uh-oh, she's stepping up. She left me on the street for an hour. I was sweating. I'm sorry.
Why isn't he told me? I felt because Atlanta's late and I want to get up here. But the cool thing he told me was that then after he got this life lesson on a plane from somebody else, then my email comes through saying, "I want a question with being on a plane."
And it was so weird. I got off the plane. I'm in Utah, and I go, "This is the weirdest thing about sitting next to a passenger on a plane." Again, is that meant to be? My whole life is that, and I was like, this is weird. Maybe it was that dude sending me a fake email, like see if I badmouthed him. But it turned out to be this. So again, just everything just happens if you make it happen. Don't cry about shit that happens bad, because everything's going to happen bad all day, right? I got stuck somewhere. I didn't know where I was. Now I'm here having a great time. Thank you, everybody.
And I'm moving up.
Thank you, buddy.